What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on those statements that Carolyn Peck made probably like about a month ago, maybe a little about a month ago. She made a statement, right? And she came out, she made a statement that the Indiana Fever are better without Caitlin Clark. And so now you have a month later, or a little bit more than a month later, you have a situation where the Indiana Fever are on a run. They just won their fifth consecutive game. They are over 500. I think their record is like 16-12, something like that. And so they're looking good. They're moving the ball. They're pretty good on defense. And like I said, they're looking good, right? And so that question comes back up like, is the Indiana Fever better without Caitlin Clark? And the answer to that, in my opinion, it depends on how Caitlin Clark reacts to this situation, how she handles this situation, right? Now, because I think that if Caitlin Clark comes back and she plays the way that she needs to play in order to keep this team successful, and fit into the chemistry of how Stephanie White has the team running right now, I don't think that the Indiana Fever will be better without her. I think that Caitlin Clark coming back and playing the game the way the game should be played, I think Caitlin Clark actually will make the Indiana Fever better, right? And the reason I say that is because Caitlin Clark right now, if she came back and she played, like I said, the right way, and she moved the ball the way Stephanie White is asking her to move the ball, she will get more wide open shots. Number one. Number two, she won't have to work as hard for the ball. She will be her shooting percentage, I think, will definitely go up. And I think that Caitlin Clark can average like around 30 points a game playing the way that Stephanie White wants her to play. So some people say, well, you're taking the ball out of Caitlin's hand, right? And that hurts the team. But I think if you keep the ball in Caitlin's hand, I think what you're doing is you're putting too much pressure, too much stress on Caitlin Clark, and you're encouraging her to work too hard in order to get her numbers. I think, as a matter of fact, I think if you run the offense through Caitlin Clark and you allow Caitlin Clark to run play the same way she played in high school and in college, then Caitlin Clark will probably average like about 20 points a game. But I think with Caitlin Clark getting moving without the ball and getting open shots, I think she could average close to 30 points a game. You know, and to add for her to average 30 points a game, she would have to knock down 2 3-pointers every quarter. So that's 6 points every quarter. That right there is 24 points right there. Then with the fast break opportunities that come throughout the course of a game, if they get like 10 or 15 points, some of those points gonna go to her. So that'll get her closer to her 30 points. Then coming down a stretch of games, she draw fouls and stuff like that. So, for her to get 6 points, like I said, just off 3-pointers alone, then you get like another in between, like another 4 or 6 points from fast breaks per quarter, 4 or 6 points, like I said. That's 10 points a quarter, and for somebody who can do as many things as she can do, like everybody know that she can shoot, then she can drive. She stops on a dime, so she can create her own basket from time to time. You don't like when you have somebody like her who can create her own basket from time to time. When the offense breaks down, then that's cool, but you don't want to wear her down having her go full court to break the press down so you can you can get into your offense. You got to leave that to Ari McDonald because you don't really need Ari McDonald to score like that at a consistent basis. I would personally, like what Stephanie White will do, just have Ari McDonald be your primary point guard. And you'll have Caitlin Clark on one side, then you'll have what's the other young lady? Kelsey Mitchell on another side, and y'all just run. Then you got Aaliyah in the low post. Man, I just think, like I said, this statement that Carolyn Peck made can only be true if Caitlin Clark allow it to be true. And that's it. It'll only be true. And from what I've seen of Caitlin Clark so far, I don't think that she will allow the statement to be true. I think that Caitlin Clark will come in there because she's seen like how easy it is and how fluid it is for them for the team to run like that and the success that they're having. I think that I'm pretty sure that Caitlin Clark will come in there and she'll pick up, and she'll blend right into with what the chemistry is, right? And she will be able to get her points. Also, I think that Stephanie White also recognized and realized that Caitlin Clark is who the fans want to see. Everybody in that FIBA organization is like, she's the one that people want to see. Is she the one who will be featured? So when people talk about like, well, Ari McDonald and Natasha, is it Natasha Howard? They don't pass Caitlin Clark the ball. To me, I mean, that's a non-factor. Like I said, uh, Ari McDonald, you let her know that her role is to bring the ball up, get the team into their offense, and keep your star player happy. That's her role. Natasha Howard, she definitely is not a threat because she need to be fed the ball. So if I'm a Fever fan, I wouldn't even be worried about Howard or McDonald because, like I said, and McDonald, she's a fan favorite. A lot of the fans are really falling in love with her because of how she played the game. She played tough defense, and like I said, she plays with a lot of energy on the offensive end, and she can score. So at times you may need her to score, but if you have so many people on this with the Fever who can score, I just think that I think people are just really just worried about the wrong things. I think, especially Fever fans, man. I think the Fever fans, y'all really need to just enjoy the ride, man. Just don't ride this emotional roller coaster or think that the game has to be, centered around Caitlin Clark in order for the game to be good. I think that like I said, Caitlin Clark, uh, only way she can fail is if Caitlin Clark don't if she don't really buy into Stephanie White's system, in my opinion. I think Stephanie White is a really good coach. As a matter of fact, Stephanie White was coached by this lady right here, Carolyn Peck. So, and when Carolyn Peck made that statement that Indiana is better without Caitlin Clark, I don't think that I don't think she meant no harm by it. I think that, statements like that, sometimes, as a player, you need people that's going to tell you the truth. And that will motivate you, that will inspire you to raise your game, so like, all right, so if y'all think that the team is better without me, I'm gonna show y'all. And Caitlin Clark is one, and she is somebody who has the talent to really do that, to prove to Carolyn Peck. And I don't think Carolyn Peck would be offended at all, if Caitlin got out there and she averaged, like 29, 28 to 30 points a game, something like that. In this offense, like I said, I think it's very possible for Caitlin Clark to do that. But you got to take the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hand to save Caitlin Clark from Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark cannot continue to play the way she did in high school and in college. In college, she had to play like that. She had to ball out in college because she didn't have the kind of talent that that she got in in Indiana or at playing at this level. It's just talent all over the court. And so, at this stage of the game, it's about playing smarter and not harder. You know, Everybody know that Caitlin Clark worked hard. She put out all these, they put out the tapes of her in the gym and stuff like that. So um she worked hard, and everybody is aware of that. But also too, you have to learn the game. This is a whole different game from what she's used to playing. She didn't have to do this in high school. Like I said, she didn't have to play like this in college. And that's not a knock on the lady Lisa Bluter, right? Who coached her in college. Like I said, Lisa Bluter had to coach her the way she coached or allow her to play the way she played because she didn't have the type of talent around her, so she played the way she played. And now this just right here is just a situation where Caitlin Clark is learning how to play at this level. But I think she'll get it. She see now. I think this was a blessing in disguise. Her sitting down for these games, like Stephanie White said. For her to sit down for these games, and see, that like if she plays smarter. She expend less energy to get her shots. Yeah, Caitlin Clark, man, she gonna be all right. Her success, like I said, just depends on Caitlin Clark, and I'm sure, man. I bet money on it that, like I said, she'll be able to persevere and come through this. But that's my take on it. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.